Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Happy Camper Radio Show. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and no question about it, my friends. You hang around with us long enough, we will make a happy camper out of you. Hello, Daniel.
Hey.
And hello, Deidre.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Daniel, the boss is in the studio today.
Oh, boy.
You better be on your best behavior.
Always.
Like he listens to me.
Always.
Yeah, I'd like to have a conversation about that one of these days, too. But anyway, we're going to be talking about something we've never talked about before today on the Happy Camper Radio Show. We're going to be talking about car camping. If you don't have an RV, if you don't have a tent, and you may have a sleeping bag, if you can fit in that vehicle of yours,
there you go.
We're going to talk about car camping, and Deidre has done that. She's going to tell us all about it on today's edition of Happy Camper Radio.
Happy Camper Radio. Happy Camper Radio.
And, of course, the Happy Camper Radio Show can be heard all around the world by great listeners just like yourself. We're in all the major podcast directories. Take one, pick one, and you'll find us there. You can find us on the web, too. We're there 24/7 at www.happycamperradio.com. You can like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. And if you enjoy watching YouTube, well, you can find Daniel and I there. You look for that little red box right down there. Yeah, you can see it. A little pup tent inside of it. Click on that. You will be automatically a subscriber to the show. Well, Daniel?
Yeah.
It is the camping season. I'm 1 week away.
Yeah, it's also pollen season. Whew.
I know. I just washed my truck the other day, and you had to go ahead and mention the fact. I was ready to show off that pretty truck that looked as new as it did when I bought it in 2018.
Yep. So Jim up in Massachusetts, who's been on the show before, he was on Facebook the other day, and he's like, when is spring going to come? Because he's up there, and then I guess they're getting a bunch of winter weather. I'm like, I put on there, I said, right now. And he's like, oh, yeah, must be nice being in Georgia.
Well, my brother, who also has an RV, and he bought his before I bought mine.
Oh.
He is like, well, I've got 1 more month before I take the cover off of it.
A month?
Yeah, another month. But we're talking Pennsylvania weather. They're still dealing with a little bit of cold temperatures up there.
Yeah, that's why y'all moved down here.
Yep.
Yeah, but hey, mine's all clean and ready to go.
Yeah.
I've flushed all the lines out. All the antifreeze is gone. Got fresh water in there. And I tell you, that's a long process, Dan.
Yeah.
Wow, it took me 2 or 3 days, because you gotta put the chlorine in there to get the antifreeze all cleaned out. Then you gotta put vinegar in there to flush out the chlorine taste, and you gotta flush it out again. And I probably put about 150 gallons of water through that.
Wow.
I taste some fresh water from home.
Nice.
Right in there right now.
All right.
So anyway, I spent this past week booking some more campgrounds.
Oh, boy.
I am booked all the way through May 1st.
All right.
Coming up in April, I am going to be staying at the Holiday Campground out on West Point Lake.
Okay.
And a couple weeks later, I'm going to be over at the Springfield Campground. That's over near Anderson, South Carolina.
Okay.
And that'll be on Lake Hartwell. Been there before, yeah.
Yes.
I've been to a lot of these lakes, but I'm visiting different campgrounds. And and my hat's off again to the folks on YouTube who are really making this easy to select the sites that you really want to enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm a lakeside campground guy.
But you also have the advantage of doing it during the week, and spots like you get are probably really hard to get on the weekend.
Not necessarily.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you what, I have looked at the sites on recreation.gov because there's some of these campgrounds you do have pictures, some of them you don't. That's when you rely on YouTube.
Right.
But, there's some people that are camping week long at a lot of these sites, and they're picking the premium sites.
Oh, nice.
So you got to do your homework, and you got to be patient, and chances are you're going to find a spot. In fact, the one over that I'm going to be camping at Lake Hartwell, the guy who shot a YouTube video, he opened up his presentation by saying, hey, we are at camp number 38.
Okay.
Guess what I booked?
38.
Yeah, I found Camp 38, and
nice.
I got it probably for the same reason he did.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, it's a great lakeside view, and of course, I want to be posting a lot of pictures on the web, and I'm spreading these out a couple weeks apart. I don't think I'm going to actually make it to Myrtle Beach here this spring.
Okay.
I'm going to probably end up saving that till this fall.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I am looking right now in May, possibly going up to Tennessee.
Oh, where in Tennessee?
North of Chattanooga. I know there's some good sites up there.
Yep.
And I want to go ahead and visit. But I'm going to be knocking on your 2 doors here in just a minute here to find out when you're going to be camping, because I want to go ahead and, camp with you if at all possible.
Yeah, we got to get a new
Awning
for our camper, and then I'll be ready to go.
Okay.
We still have the stuff from last year in the back of the truck.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Well, I still have a lot of stuff in my crawl through space on the RV, which is storage, just like it is for you.
Yeah.
This is stuff that you're going to be using all the time when you go camping. So, you can't really knock it being there.
Yeah.
But you still got to take your inventory. And this upcoming week here, I'm going to be doing one more show before I hit the road. Next Sunday, I'll be going to the grocery store.
Oh.
Okay. And,
we do that when we get there.
And Monday. Yeah, that's why you say you're on the go, people. Yeah, because you're constantly on the go. And that's okay. Whatever works for you. But anyway, today on the show, Daniel, we're going to be talking about car camping.
Okay.
And I have a few things to weigh in on that. But, Deidre, you just had a recent camping experience, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. Now, how many nights did you spend in your car?
So I only went one night, just because I couldn't get with work and some doctor's appointments. So I'd do it for a few nights. I wouldn't, necessarily do it for a long, long time. But my aunt is interested in getting into the camping van life world, and so she's reached out to me, my sister, and one of my other aunts to see if we all were interested in doing this. So we did our test run last weekend, and we went down to Indian Springs State Park.
Okay.
Which I had
very beautiful down there.
And I had been there before. I used to live out that way, and when I was a teenager, and so we used to go to Indian Springs, a few times a year. And what I did not realize was that there's a campground there. I did not know there was a lake there, because we never went beyond the entrance where the kind of falls and all the little buildings are, and the stinky spring water. But so when my aunt brought it to me and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about going to Indian Springs," I was like, "Oh, okay, sure, why not?" So my sister actually went down Friday night and stayed, and then I went Saturday night. So this was kind of a trial run to see what all we had. We didn't buy a whole bunch of stuff. We kind of made do with what we had and got a few things that we knew we were going to need, just so we could get out there, see how it went, see if there's something we really, really need to add to our kits, if there's something we can take away from our kits. But it turned out to be really nice. The weather was a little, because it kind of rained a little bit on Friday. Saturday, not so much. It kind of drizzled a little bit. But Sunday, as we were leaving, it was gorgeous. But it was a really fun experience. I definitely would like to do it again. It is something that I think I've kind of looked into it and researched into it for quite a while. And I really would like to go out west and kind of find some of those areas that you can go and park at for a couple of nights and just wake up and there's nature. So, but it was fun. It was fun. I can't wait to do it again. We've got a calendar worked out for ourselves so everybody can put their availability, and we're going to try to do it maybe, if not every month, maybe every other month or so.
Oh, that's cool. Now, did you take any of your camping equipment from your pop-up camper with you?
So I did take some, not really much of our pop-up stuff. I took a lot more of kind of the stuff that we've purchased geared towards backpacking. Since I was in my car, I just have an HR-V, so it's not a huge car. It's not, super small. But so I just took my sleeping bag that I had bought, which worked perfect. I actually got a little warm during the night. I did get a mattress topper that I kind of folded up to use as my bed until I kind of figure out how I want that set up to be. And I did buy a canopy, like a screen with a screen room on it that opens on both sides, to put at the end of my car, so I can pop up the back and sit in the back of my car. And if it starts raining, I've got an area right there to sit. I can set stuff up right there if I need to. I bought, when I came back home, I did buy some boxes to start organizing the stuff that we need so that I can put it in there, have it ready to go, just to throw in there. I took Daniel's little backpack and camping stove. That worked great. I bought a little tiny set. My aunt did have like a Coleman grill that she had brought that she used. But we ended up, so my aunt had reserved this one spot because looking at the map, it was like, oh, okay, that one looks like a pretty good one. And she and my sister got there, and it was not what they had thought it was going to be. It was a lot more, a lot closer to other people than they thought. So they drove around the campground and actually found a site right on the lake, and went up to the office, switched out our campsite. So the site we had was perfect. There were a couple of them. There were like 3 that were right there on kind of a little jetty out into the lake. And ours was kind of it felt like the most private because we're like our picnic table and everything were backed up to the woods. So got to see some squirrels. There were some flowers were blooming, but I did have to get up in the middle of the night and go to the restroom. And I know some people, they set up kind of a little potty in their car. And I'm good. I'll just walk up to the bathhouse. It's fine. And so I went up, and on my way back, as I'm walking down there, I hear in the leaves. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's that? It's probably like a deer or something. And so took my little flashlight and I went, okay. And I shined it over, and it was an armadillo. I will try to go get a picture of him, but he ran away when I got closer to him. But yeah, he was over there digging in the leaves, trying to find his stuff, but he was huge. His body was probably that big. I mean, he was huge. But so it was a lot of fun. We did some geocaching while we were down there. There's a little tiny town down there called Flovilla. So Indian Springs, there's like the little Indian Springs, like historic area. So there's some shops and stuff. It's really cute there. And so then we went over to Flovilla, and Flovilla is teeny tiny. The downtown is basically the city hall and the fire department attached to each other. But we drove over there through the geocaching thing and found there's like an old historic schoolhouse that kids from all over that area used to go to. So, that was kind of fun to see smaller towns that we really would never go down there for. But one thing I do need to work on is figuring out, so when you're in your car and you're sleeping, you're breathing, so condensation can build up. So I didn't really have too much of a problem with that this time. But I definitely do. Luckily I have a sunroof, so I can crack that. And I didn't get any covers for my windows. So I didn't have any kind of car darkening. I had the cover that I used for my windshield. But I definitely would look into getting some things to cover my windows. My aunt had some screens that were kind of almost like a little pouch, and you slide them down over the windows. So they're screens, but then you can roll your window down. Bugs don't come in. Yeah, but I think I had considered getting a tent, because they do make tents that will fit onto the back of your car.
The hatchback. Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So they've got ones that fit right back onto the hatchbacks, but then they've got ones that attach, but they're also standalone tents. So I'd considered maybe getting something like that further down the road if we do this a lot more. But I think the setup I've got right now, with Daniel already having a tent, it's kind of like, okay, well, I didn't really want to spend the money on one of those because they can be expensive. But I have looked into the different types of tents and kind of looked at people, and I know a lot of people that have them. They really like them, and because they give you kind of a little bit more homey feeling, I guess you could say, because you get a little bit more space. But I look forward to kind of figuring out all the mechanics and getting everything right to where it's comfortable and perfect. And it's a good, I was telling Daniel, I think it'll be good for us if we want to go away for a weekend. You know, sometimes the pop-up's a little difficult, especially if we're looking at going somewhere that might be 3 or 4 hours away. Maybe we want to leave after work on Friday, and we get there, we don't really want to set up in the dark, you know, and if we're only going to be there for a day or two. So it could be a good setup for something like that. But
Cool.
I highly recommend trying it.
Okay. Now, you know, you have a small vehicle. Daniel and I couldn't fit inside of a vehicle like that and sleep comfortably. I think I rode in your vehicle one time in the back seat, and I think my knees were up against either. I think if I was sitting behind you, and my knees were really up against your seat, and I know I couldn't lay down on the back seat. But let me tell you, I'm sitting here thinking about the years gone by. I'm going to go back into my law enforcement days when I was hardly ever home, and I'm jumping from one job to the next and then going back to my main job. And wow, I tell you, you know, government employees aren't paid much. I think the three of us can attest to that fact. Okay, you know, I can remember back in the days. Wow, it was brutal. It really was. And I had to sleep in my truck on a lot of occasions. And I'm talking maybe just a 2 or 3 hour nap.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wasn't sleeping like I really should. But there have been times when I was up in the mountains. I went to our campsite up in Hiawassee, which I've talked about numerous times on the program. I had gone up there with the intention of visiting for the day and ended up staying the night. Now, even a tall guy like me with a full-size pickup truck would have trouble laying across the front seat and trying to get a good night's rest. Didn't work. I have been up there before where I had a cap on top of my truck, and I climbed in the 8-foot bed, and I was able to lay down.
Nice.
Okay, and I had a big Arctic hunting outfit, which I don't hunt no more. I gave that up a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I brought that along, and it kept me warm, and I used a spare tire as my pillow.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so
That's
yeah,
rough.
I mean, that was my experience of car camping. Okay, and, you know, of course, everybody else out there had all the equipment and everything, so I didn't have to worry about bringing a stove or a lantern or anything like that. And the campfire was going 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but yeah, I don't think I could return to that way of life. Right now, I'm relatively spoiled.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But
You got a portable hotel.
yeah, that's right, and I wouldn't change what I did for anything in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But Daniel, have
Yes,
you
sir.
ever had the opportunity of sleeping in a vehicle?
Ooh.
Okay, this got to be good. This got to be good. We just hit a nerve here, didn't we?
So when I was in the Navy, we were in the dry docks, which means like we're working on the ship, and so you couldn't sleep on the boat anymore. You had to sleep on this other thing next to the boat. It was called a barge, and it was basically a bunch of rooms with cots, like, you know, bunk beds, no privacy at all. There'd be like, you know, 10 people in a room stacked on top of each other. We'd get like a little, I'd get a little locker, and it was horrible. And people would be turning the lights on all the time. People would be coming in drunk. It was, people would be loud. It was terrible. So, at this point in my Navy career, I decided to buy a car because I hadn't bought a car my first 2 years. So I decided to buy a car. It was a CRX, a Honda CRX.
If you don't know what that is, it is a 2-seater.
Yeah.
It is a 2-seater.
It's
There's
a
no
very-
backseat.
It's a very tiny car.
Folks,
And-
I think we are getting into a real serious car camping story here.
Oh, yeah. So basically, I would sleep in there all the time, every night, and
Sitting up or lying down?
laying down. Oh, yeah.
You were able to lie down, probably with your knees up into your chest, right?
Well, I would put my feet between the two front seats, and I would just, you know, or bend my knees or whatever it took. But it was quiet and it was peaceful. But, you know, from time to time, there'd be a security guard or a policeman knocking on my window, and, you know, I'd try to hide myself, but, like, that's the only way I could get a good night's sleep. and it was brutal.
Except the night after you went and saw the ring.
Oh boy. Yeah, I couldn't get to sleep because when I'm sleeping, there's a big old window, and I was having nightmares.
Okay, but you didn't never actually go to a campground
No.
and sleep in a car. And
No.
Deidre, you went down to Indian Springs. Now, were you staying at the state park campground
Yep.
there? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So one thing, definitely just kind of through my research, I would say if you are looking at doing car camping, get a tent to at least have in there. Because I do believe that some campgrounds don't let you sleep in your car. They want you to have a tent or an RV or, whatever. So I know a lot of people who do this will have a little tent just in case they need to have it to put up and sleep in there. We didn't have any issues. Just definitely check the rules of any campgrounds that you're going to, and check for the number of vehicles that can be on your site. So you may need to get more than one if you're going with a group of people. The campground down there, if you look at the Georgia state parks, there are rules like you can have up to 3 vehicles on a spot, but for that particular one, they did limit it to 2. So it worked out well. My sister stayed Friday night and we traded off and I stayed Saturday night. But keep that in mind if you're looking at doing this. You just need to make sure you've got all the rules down and you're doing what you want. But it definitely did feel a lot more secure than sleeping in a tent.
Well, I'll say this, regardless of what type of camping you do, whether it be tent camping, car camping, RV camping, motorhome camping, the bottom line is every camper has one thing in common, and they are getting away from everyday life as we know it. And everybody needs that.
Mm-hmm.
You really do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking about you hearing a little armadillo we'll call it a big armadillo.
A big armadillo.
That's what you saw. Last week on the show when Danny was talking about his little camping trip, he too was hearing things in the woods in the middle of the night and really worried about what they are. Okay. But that happens. Okay.
Yep.
And you got to expect that regardless of where you're at. I mean, even when I go to the campground, I'm sure here in the first couple months, I'm not going to have to run the air conditioner around the clock like I did when I was inside. I don't want to say around the clock, but at least at nighttime when I was in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably have the windows open, and I just love to hear the noise. I love to hear what's going on. If it's not the waves clapping up against the shoreline, it just might be a deer coming across the camp. And oh, heaven forbid if Sadie sees a deer.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's going to be.
It might be raccoons.
And there are plenty of those in addition to armadillos.
We had some raccoons on one of our trips. We didn't realize we had left, I think, a loaf of bread on the table or something like that. And middle of the night, what's that? Oh my gosh, it's a raccoon.
You say you brought some containers to start storing your items in.
Yeah.
You do have a plastic container for your food, correct? Yeah. Especially if you're going to be camping in bear country.
Yep.
That is really, really important. You got to go seal that because, bears, they can't see worth a darn. They can't hear worth a darn, but they got a nose on them.
Mm-hmm.
They can smell food miles away. And if you don't want a bear in your campground, then you're going to go ahead and secure everything. Lock it in your vehicle, store it in those plastic containers, and, take those precautions. And there's a lot of information you can find online about that, too. But, I don't think I'll ever get into car camping. That's a very interesting story, you shared with us here today. And, Deidre, again, this is your first camping experience, camping in a car?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So.
Yeah. I think if I had to do it over again, I would make sure I would have a pickup truck with at least an 8-foot bed inside of it, maybe an air mattress, and not sleep on the cold bed of the pickup like I did before.
They make air mattresses specifically for car camping.
Yes, and actually fit around the wheel wells of your vehicle.
Yep.
Right. So you got a lot of space in there, and for tall guys like Daniel and I, we would require those 8-foot beds.
Oh yeah.
So we could move around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm expecting one of these days you're going to go camping with him in his backpacking tent, Deidre.
Yep.
Okay.
One of these days, we got to find a shorter hike that I can.
We'll use the bigger one, not the one I just bought.
Yeah, we'll use the bigger tent, but we'll do one. We did the one on Cumberland, so we'll do another one. You know.
Well, this I'm really anxious to hear about that. I know we're going to have a lot to talk about. And, right before the show, I reminded you all we are coming up on our 10th anniversary of Happy Camper Radio. And I am really planning a really nice episode for
I'm
that.
excited.
So,
I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, and Deidre, I hope to have you back in the studio because you have been an instrumental part of this as well.
Of course, for 10 years. Woo!
Yeah, it actually has been a long time.
Yep.
And wow, I never realized at this particular point in the venture that, we would be where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I mean, we've had a loyal audience. Some people have followed us for years. Some people have come and gone. But, the bottom line is we're out here talking about something we have in common.
Oh, yeah.
And we enjoy. Nature is just part of our life. And I couldn't get enough of it, even in my retirement years.
Yes,
okay?
we know.
Yes, and you'll get there. I keep promising you, Daniel. Just like
I think about it all the time.
My friends have told me when I was your age, says you're going to get there. Don't worry about it. And yeah, it seems like yesterday. The time will fly.
Yeah, I don't want it to fly. I just, I want more time now.
But even though I take advantage of a lot of camping, it's good to come home.
Yeah,
it's good to come home, as they say to your sticks and bricks.
Yep.
Okay, so you take that little break right there, and then you're ready to go again. I don't know if I could actually do this full time, Daniel.
Yeah.
I think about it often. I listen to people. I hear them on YouTube. Some of the folks that have actually sold everything they owned and decided to go ahead and get a big fifth wheel and take RV life on the road. They say they're really enjoying it, but you got to ask yourself, are they really enjoying it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe they are. All right, but I still would have my reservations, especially at my age. I probably get maybe a good 10 years of it, but we all get old.
Yep.
And there's going to come a time when you're going to start slowing down and you're not going to be able to get out there and do the things that you really want to do. So I'm trying to take advantage of as much outdoor time and RV living as I possibly can.
The
now.
thing about it for us is we would love to be in a camper all the time, but we like to do so much stuff. I mean, our house is getting full from stuff from me doing my hobbies, her doing her hobbies. I mean, we got all kinds of junk. If we lived in a trailer, I don't know how we would do it. And we've got our kayaks, our stand-up paddle boards, all kinds of stuff, all my yard games. I just don't know how people live in a trailer if they like to do all the stuff that we do,
Well, you'd have to have a big fifth wheel or a motorhome with plenty of storage space to put all that stuff in.
That would be crazy.
Hey, bring it along with you. Why keep it at home?
Yeah,
so,
I guess.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, we have a lot to look forward to and a lot more Happy Camper radio shows coming your way. It's time now for our featured campground of the week, right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Happy Camper Radio.
Oh, Daniel, let's go over to the west of us here in the state of Alabama.
Alabama?
Yeah, Alabama.
That's
We're going to
where
go
most of
to
my
the
family's from.
Miller's Ferry Campground.
Okay.
Okay, it is part of the Alabama River Lakes near Camden, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
The Miller Ferry Campground, also known as East Bank, is located on the scenic Danley Reservoir in Alabama's Black Prairie Belt. The reservoir sits on the Alabama River and covers roughly 27 square miles, boasting more than 500 miles of shoreline. A lot of activities out there: boating, fishing, hunting, hiking. They're very popular activities. The campground offers 42 family sites with electric hookups. Amenities include flush toilets, showers, drinking water, laundry facilities, and a dump station. If you got an RV like me, you got to have that dump station if you don't have full hookup, okay? But there's a lot of information right there on their website. You can click on that. I'm going to have a link to it all week long on happycamperradio.com. I want to remind you again, if you don't already have an account with recreation.gov, it doesn't cost you a dime to get one. Sign up. Look for that little blue tab up in the upper right-hand corner of your webpage. It says sign up or log in. I've got a login account, obviously, because I'm booking all of my campgrounds, most all of them right now, through recreation.gov. And these campgrounds, Daniel, are very well kept.
All right.
Very well maintained. And I just start freaking out anytime I hear the possibility of a government shutdown, because the first thing they cut when they shut things down at the government?
The parks.
They cut down the parks, yeah.
Yep.
And I couldn't even think today, with the fact that I have an RV and I'm doing a lot of camping, that they would automatically shut these things down.
Well, that's still state parks.
I would go nuts, but then again, this is the government, okay? But anyway, this is a great campground here. You may want to visit. It's not far from us, so I may head on over there myself.
Yeah,
to
Alabama's
the
nice.
Alabama River Lakes. It's the Miller Ferry Campground. Miller's Ferry.
Aha.
Miller's Ferry Campground. And it is our featured campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Skip and Daniel
And Deidre.
on happycamperradio.com.
And of course, if you have a campground you'd like for us to feature on the program, get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. Or you know this guy.
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
Yeah, featuring the Lazy Hiker Brewing Company.
There we go.
Okay.
That was up in Franklin when we went there a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
It was fun.
I might go there myself
Oh,
someday.
they had some good burgers there, Skip.
Oh, my
yeah.
favorite.
There you go.
But I got to have them on the grill, too.
Oh, they're on the grill.
Okay. All right, Daniel. Hey, anyway, we got another great episode coming up for you real soon. The Happy Camper Radio Show. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. Always a pleasure to have Deidre in the studio with us.
Woo!
Yeah. And it won't be long before you're going to be sitting in the camping chair again. Our guests always sit in the camping chair, Daniel.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Remember, friends, every pet deserves a loving home. I want you to do exactly as I did. Visit your local shelter and adopt a pet today. You can find us on the web. We're there 24/7 at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel's a happy camper. Hearing Deidre today, I know she's a happy camper.
Yeah.
And you better believe it, folks. We're going to make a happy camper out of you. Talk to you again real soon. This is Happy Camper Radio.
Happy Camper Radio.